Chapter 10. In Suspense. Jamai knew there was absolutely no way on earth he would have his questions answered without first understanding the full story his godfather wrote. The 4-part story about angels in second heaven telling his godfather stories about humans on earth. And so he continued reading the book silently. Reader, take note that I had been translated as a preteen child to second heaven in the year 1986. And note also that the incident in the first story being told by the recording angel, Saint Anna, happened in the late 1980s, which means that I was a heaven-based child in Earth's distant future, maybe around the year 2036, listening to historical stories being told about Earth humans, either living or dead, during the late 80s when I was a child. And yet I was able to publish this book before the year 2036. It's quite puzzling and fascinating, isn't it? But such was my overall experience, being translated and educated in second heaven during my blooming years, in the order of the prophethood, by the government of the invisible Godhead. Now back to the story. So as I was once more mulling over this auspicious cosmic reality that I was forced into, or brought into, or allowed into, I noticed from the corners of my eyes that Angel Gen Rev and Angel Rev Gen were both eyeing me, as if to ensure I was still comfortably seated between them. But I kept my face forward, and my eyes fastened on Angel Saint Anna repositioning herself behind her crystal lectern to resume telling the first story in the Jamaican conflict resolvers saga. Then Angel Saint Anna said, "You might all be wondering about what next happened to Mark Mackenzie in that room of terror. Some of you might have already drawn conclusions about it. Yet the ending of this first chapter shall remain suspenseful for a while, and for a good reason." She glanced up at me, and my eyes immediately fell to my restless fingers on my lap. Yes, I was guilty of drawing conclusions about Mark already, and I suspected she figured that all too easily, perhaps also because my face has always been my most honest informant. Still, I kept silent as she said, "Precious audience, in moving on, the second chapter is titled A Simple Man's Plan." She paused briefly again, then went on to say, "By May of 1996, the name Mark Mackenzie had already become anathema in Rage Avenue, and to a particular married couple residing in Simple City, and especially to their son, who is our next main character in this DeVillain manslayer story, a 20-year-old man named Joey Simpleman, who, one late afternoon, was standing in his bedroom on the second floor of his parents' palatial mansion, looking in the mirror of his dresser at his dark brown complexion and mixed Chinese features, which, oddly, was too strong for his name's sake, being that he was not a Chong nor a Chin nor a Wong, nor even a Lee, but a simple man. He lifted his clean-shaven chin and said, "I'm sorry, Mark, but you would have never had a chance with Grace. You will never, and I mean never, be as lucky as Joey. No, not lucky. Luck is for the godless. You can never be as blessed as Joey the Best." He grinned, briefly inspecting his imperfect teeth. Then his mobile phone began to ring on his bed, and he grabbed up the device. It was a fat Motorola flip phone, one of those with an antenna stub. Joey didn't care much about phone models and brands, as this wasn't yet the mid-2000s, and because he didn't know anything better. The same way some people didn't know they were poor until they lived among rich people. All being assumed, Joey just wasn't a frightened Friday, as the seniors would say. On the 5th ring, he pressed the answer button and brought the phone to his left ear and pinned it there with his shoulder. "Hi, babe," he said. His babe, Grace Williams, said, "Joey, do you really want to go public about us so soon?" Joey said nothing, because, once again, although his babe was concerned now, she still spoke with the most refined and sensual voice in all of Simple City, which always sent rose petals spiraling down to join the butterflies inside his belly. She said, "What? Did an invisible cat get your tongue?" Then he replied in a low, sensual, playful tone, "Grace, if we don't get off this phone right now, I'm going to get myself into big trouble, and I would have to experience hard times in the prison of patience." She breathed out slowly in his ear and said softly, "Really, Joey?" "Yes, really," he said in the deepest voice he could muster. Then, with her voice now overlaid with a saucy sternness, she said, "Brother Simple Man, you really need to have your mind sanctified." His grin widened in the mirror as he finished looping his necktie into a perfect knot. Joey's mind had often become disheveled, but no one had to tell him how to groom himself and how to deport himself in church matters. And so this evening, he just had to look like an effective preacher, wearing black Italian dress shoes, appropriate socks, black pants, black belt, bright blue long-sleeve dress shirt, matching tie, a clean face, and well-groomed hair. His black slim-fit jacket was sprawled on the bed behind him. He would not disappoint in appearance and speech. He just had to look and sound like the part he took. Or was it rather the part that was forced upon him? Because Joey was not asked, but ordered, to preach this Wednesday night's message of this year's second youth week of revival at his church, and he had not dared decline openly, especially not after Grace had already agreed to attend his church this evening. She had been speaking all along. Now she said, "OMG, that cat really got your tongue." Laughing, he said, "No, babe. I'm listening to you. I was just also thinking about sanctification and picking you up." She laughed. "How will you come to pick me up?" "Just be ready waiting and you'll see, babe," he said coyly. Then he added, "I'm just about ready." She said, "Good for you, Joey. Anyway," she added flatly, "I'm going now to get ready. So see you soon, preacher man. Or should I say, see you soon, Mr. Tough Guy." Joey raised an eyebrow, shaking his head, all the while smiling wryly at the way she placed teasing emphasis on the last two words, further stiffening his interest. Then she hung up at the start of one of her serendipitous giggles, which rarely came short of completely tantalizing his brain during phone calls like this one. Still looking like the happiest man on earth in the mirror, he tamed his inner glee and threw the mobile phone back onto his bed. In that same moment, a low mechanical rumble rode the warm air into his bedroom, so he moved closer to the front window, still moisturizing his hands with a sweet-scented lotion, and watched a black Hiace minibus, with white designs on it, rolling up to his gate. Soon the bus halted and remained chuckling for a while. Then the engine died, but its tinted windows remained closed, and he couldn't identify the driver through the front glass from his vantage point. Joey sighed heavily and his shoulders slumped. The church leaders had sent for him this time without prior notice, and so the driver would have to wait a while longer, because just no way on earth would Joey be attending church this evening without Grace by his side.